Tonight, Republican leaders in the state Senate in Tennessee have a list of demands for the governor tied to executions. They call for an independent review tied to a botched attempted execution back in May. The medical team then failed to find the vein, a secondary one, after almost an hour and halted the execution of death row inmate Tony Carruthers. In the letter, senators outline other concerns about the execution process in the state. And 10 News reporter Andrew McClung joins us with the authors of that letter. And these are leaders who support the death penalty, Andrew, but say the state is failing to carry it out properly.
That's exactly right, John. The concern triggered the letter Senator Tom Hatcher sent it to the Department of Correction Commissioner Frank Strada and Governor Bill Lee. It demands an independent review of what went wrong in the most recent execution, and it cites other problems, asking to finish the review before the next execution and offer more transparency about the drugs and the qualifications of the team.
We need to know as legislators and what's happened and why it went wrong and what they're going to do to fix it and those type of things.
Senator Tom Hatcher says accountability is the point of the letter he sent Monday to Department of Corrections Commissioner Frank Strada and Governor Bill Lee.
So there's plenty of time to get to the bottom of what happened in that, and we've been intact. Leader Johnson and I have talked about the situation and talked to the governor.
During the execution of Tony Von Carruthers, officials spent an hour trying to establish a backup vein line, ultimately suspending the execution. State Senator Richard Briggs is a physician.
How long do you persist in trying to obtain access when at some point apparently the person is really starting to hurt, starting to struggle, and it's gone beyond just an execution for humane reasons, something that's become a real ordeal for the prisoner.
The senators say this isn't about opposing the death penalty, but making sure Tennessee can carry out executions properly.
That we have a plan A when there's an execution. When the plan A doesn't go well, such as they can't obtain venous access to administer the drugs, there needs to be a plan B.
We want to move forward with those. The victims of those other incidents than that deserve for justice to be served and the law to carry out that the courts have set aside. And we want to make sure that we as a state carry out those laws and that we have been instructed to do.
Andrew with us again. There are 3 upcoming executions set for this year. 2 involve cases in East Tennessee.
Yeah, John, this August, Anthony Darrell Duggard Hines is set to be executed. He was convicted of a murder in Cheatham County, Tennessee. Then in September, Krista Gail Pike is set for execution. In 1995, when Pike was 18, she tortured and murdered her classmate, Colleen Slimmer. She became one of the youngest women to ever be sentenced to death and is the only woman on death row in the state. And then in December, Gary Wayne Sutton is set to be executed. In 1992, he killed Connie Branham and her brother Tommy Griffin in Blount County and Sevier County. So, John, with these upcoming executions, this is why the senators are wanting to make sure what happened to Carruthers does not happen again.
All right, we'll continue to follow it. Andrew McClung with the very latest tonight.